Here we go for Omelie's fourth tutorial, I believe. In this tutorial I will be teaching you how to place objects, units, effects, etc. on the map. The first and probably the most important thing I'll be teaching you how to do is how to place starting points and orbs and wells. It's all pretty much the same, but we'll see. For this one we need the entity placement tool, which is Shift E. This will bring up this window here, which has a bucket of different things on it. First thing I will be teaching you how to place is miscellaneous starting points. We'll need to check what sort of map we have at the moment. Going to team settings, player kits. At the moment we are set for a PvP map. PvP? Okay, well we'll reset it now. It's a PvE one player map now. Just me and the computer fighting each other. Okay, so we will need one starting point for each human player. So we're just going to place this over near our lake over here. There we go, there's our starting point. At our starting point we'll probably need a orb. Orbs are called tokens in the editor. We'll just place an orb right under our starting point. And we will need power wells. And there's a range of different power wells. We don't really care which one we have at the moment, so we're just going to go with the PvP 1200 power well, which means it has 1200 power on it, and we'll place two of them down on the map. Okay, so now if you went into the game with this map, you would probably find out that you have nothing assigned to you, but you do have a starting point, and you probably have 200 power, I believe. To assign objects to a player, we need to first select the object, go to our windows, and go to Entity Properties. This will bring up a window very similar to this, which will have the tag, which you need for scripting, the player kit, which you can see when we go to map settings, the team setup. Player 1 is, I'll reset that. The human player is called PK Kit 1, so anything you assign to PK Kit 1 will be assigned to player 1, the human player. Anything you assign to PK_enemy 1 will be given to the enemy team. We need to save these settings. Here you can change the starting power and starting void power. We'll save that. So we need to assign these three objects, 4 objects actually, we'll select them all, because one of them includes the starting point, to a player, and we'll assign it to the human player. So now it's assigned to the human player. We'll just move this one down here, and you can see as you click on each different thing, this is the starting point, and is assigned to the human player. The well assigned to the human player. The orb also assigned to the human player. That is basically the same for all objects, units, everything. It is basically assigned the exact same way as that. So how do we place squads then? Well, we go up to the squad button and we scroll down to any one of these, it doesn't really matter, and we'll pick a bandit scavenger and we'll place 2 of them. Here you can set which team they're getting placed on, otherwise you can assign it separately. At the moment they're getting assigned to the enemy, but we'll assign it to team 1, which is the player. PK kit 1, which is also the player, and we'll give the player 2 of these scavengers. Alternatively, you can actually select them after you place them, and they will bring up a window like this, and you can edit the settings in here. That's basically how we place a unit. You can place them on either team, the player's team or the enemy team. Next thing we want to place is a building. There are very few buildings in the editor. Most of them you can place via scripting, but we'll get to that later. We'll just place a bandit tower down and make sure it's assigned to the human player first, and we'll place it just in here. Now the player has the 2 wells, the orb, the bandit tower, and the 2 scavengers. Next up is objects. Objects are non-attackable, non-selectable, and non-assignable things that you can place on the map. They include a whole range of different things, from statues, like that one, to bushes and trees and flowers, like that tree flower thing, to even rocks and bones and all the other decal things that you really need to place on a map to make it look great. Here's a stone, we'll just chuck that on the map as well. The second last thing you probably want to be placing on a map, depending on what sort of map you're making, is effects. Effects generally, there are a variety of different effects. Some of them are one-time effects that you probably want to set off via scripting. Others are effects that stay up the entire time, like this one will just keep popping up. You can set them to start and play via scripting. The last thing you want to place on a map is fortifications or barriers. And we'll just put in a standard little wall somewhere on the map somewhere. We'll just place one in here. You probably want to line these up against the cliff. They won't show up as built when you originally place them. Just chuck them all in. To get them so you can actually see what they look like when they're in game, or to have them already built, you need to go into the entity properties again. Here are the properties. This wall is called wall 1, which you can identify via scripting. You can assign it to a character here and now, or you can just leave that blank. You can have it rebuildable or not rebuildable. You can have it so the player can select which direction it faces when you build it, and you can have it start as preview. We're going to have it start as, we're going to turn start as preview off, and we're going to show it as built, which means it will be built as soon as we go into the game. You can also assign the power cost. And that's what it'll look like in game. That pretty much covers placing objects, fortifications, wells, orbs, buildings, squads. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and that should probably be the last tutorial that you need to actually get started map making. The rest of the bits and pieces are scripting for the most part. Enjoy!